Ska is definitely a very interesting genre, and some have equated it akin to no. What plays in a 13-year-old boy's head when he finds out that he had an extra mozzarella stick in his bag of McDonald's or whatever?
I need a coffee. It's your boy Zero.
And I'm Mash.
And yeah, we're continuing with our the Let's Play of the Digimon Cyber Sleuth Hacker's Memory. God, I hate the camera angle changes. It freaking reminds me of Resident Evil, and I don't like it.
Resident Evil is better.
Don't hate me. Don't hate me.
There was a purpose for it in Resident Evil. It sets the creepiness of it. Here, there's no need. I don't like it when JRPGs lock the camera either, but sometimes they just kind of have to do that.
Like, I get it, but also, no. Stop it.
Yeah. They don't want us clipping through the wall.
Yeah.
Speedrunning the game. JRPGs are meant to be played 100 hours at a time. It's illegal to speedrun them.
Jeez. There must be a speed running community for JRPGs. I just don't know how the heck they would do it because there's just so much story to have to get through.
Yeah, there definitely is. I mean, there's a speedrunning community for anything. You remember that horrible Penn and Teller game that featured like the bus that you drive through the desert and you don't do anything else and it's in real time? There's like a charity marathon that does they do I guess it's not really a speed run, but they're marathoning it. So my point is, whatever game you can think of, there is absolutely people that want to like speedrun it or get involved and try to like, do completionist stuff with it or whatever. When it comes to Persona, which is a JRPG, I got curious and I looked up what the speedruns are on that, and yeah, it's like you're talking about like a speedrun is 15 hours.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
That's rough.
I don't want to be the Persona speedrunner that makes like a speedrun breaking mistake and then has to hit the reset button 14 hours into a speedrun. I can tell you that much. Holy fuck.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a literal fucking nightmare. Alright, so I need speed to be at 95. Where is the speed? 85. His max level 61. Alright, so we just gotta keep going. Let's actually also check for Cressmon. When does she digivolve? At level 55, 60, and 55. Her max level is what? Damn it. 81. We're good. And Starmon, what level? 26. Oh, he could also go into Cressmon. Who knew? Super Starmon 28. And he's... Alright, so just a few levels and we get Super Starmon. How does that sound, Mash?
That sounds like a great time. I didn't know. No one told me David Bowie was gonna be in this.
Shit. He is dearly missed.
Yeah, for real. Okay, so side note, tangent story.
Yes.
I remember I was a young man, and then one of my favorite rock and roll idols passed away. His name was Lemmy from Motorhead, and it hurt really bad because it was like, he was such an inspiration. He was badass. He was just really great. And then a few years later, Bowie died, and it was like, man, that sucked. Also, like just as bad as when Lemmy died. I guess a little bit less so because I already went through the Lemmy thing, but a few years later, Bowie died, and then someone shared a picture on social media of like, oh, this is from back in the day, David Bowie hanging out with Lemmy from Motorhead.
Oh my
and
God.
I was like, that's so cool. I like had never had an idea that they even knew each other. They ran in the same circles. Like, that's so cool. And now they're both gone. This picture is like, we should frame it. And then I kind of looked it up because I'm like, well, hold on. This was on the internet. Let me take a look. It was fake.
Oh, no.
I completely fell for it, and it was just like that moment where you're like, damn it, nothing is Nothing is to be believed on the internet.
Nothing sacred. That's frustrating. I would have been real upset if two of my favorite artists were like manipulated like that in photos and made me think something that wasn't true. Oh god.
Dude, did you know that Kanye West hung out with Freddie Mercury? That's why he did that cover. That's why he did the cover of Bohemian Rhapsody, because they knew each other. He inspired, like he taught him how to sing the song. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I know. Just like a random mashup. Zero, who's your favorite musical idol that you cherish?
That's a little rough for me because I don't necessarily have like a singular like singer or anything like that. I just have favorite bands.
I mean, it could be a drummer, it could be a singer, it could be a guitarist, it could be a guy that stands in a suit with another guy that stands in a suit, and they don't actually play instruments; they just hype up the crowd.
Yeah, the worst part about that mash is that nothing comes up. Like I'm horrible at it. I'm really horrible at it because I can't. I mainly focus on the bands like as a totality and not necessarily like the individuals because I learned in high school very early on that bands change band members often, like very often.
Yep.
And it's a little frustrating. So it's like, why follow one like drummer, singer, guitarist when it's very likely that they're just going to end up leaving a couple years later or even sooner than that. And I ended up just stop focusing on that and just focus on the band as an entity itself. So yeah, like I understand like, oh my god, this one person made this band, or like this one person is responsible for making most of the music or whatever, and I really like them. I unfortunately don't have the mentality, so I can't answer your question.
Because I was gonna say, like, well, I guess that's a point, but like, there's also gonna be members of bands that go beyond that because they're way more instrumental, pun intended. They're way more instrumental for the band. That when you think of Queen, you think of Freddie Mercury first. You know, when you think of Motorhead, you think of Lemmy. You know, when you think of a band, there might be that one member that's like, A, they've been there pretty much the whole time, or B, they're just really instrumental and for whatever reason associated with the band for you. So you don't even have like anything like that, like a Lemmy or a Freddie Mercury or something.
I mean, I guess
I'm trying to make conversation.
no, I understand that you're trying to make conversation. Geez, just that I like so many like different, especially ska bands. But I guess I can say this one guy. So, are you familiar with the band Real Big Fish?
Of course, yeah.
So the singer of Real Big Fish, I don't know his name. If you can find that real quick while I go through this crap, that would be appreciated.
Well, assuming that it's the one you're thinking of, because who knows, maybe they have more singers too.
He usually has mutton chops, you know, on the sides of his face, you know, hairstyle. And
I'm sorry, that's every ska band member. No, I'm kidding. Let's see. Would it be Aaron Barrett?
I believe so. Chops? Yes, that would be him then. Because he has a really good vocal range. And he makes some amazing covers and puts a really interesting spin on it.
Right.
So even though Real Big Fish is not my favorite ska band, like, of them all, I would say if I were to pick one singer, or at least one artist from all of them, I'd say he has like the best vocal range and a very iconic voice.
God, there are a lot of members in this band. I mean, I guess it makes sense because of the trumpets and the saxophones and the trombones, but man, there was a lot of members in this band. But it looks to be Aaron Barrett because he's one of the few that's been there since day one. It says that for him, he's from 1991 to present, and yeah, he's basically vocals, like lead vocals. But okay, well that's fine. I mean, I don't know. I feel I feel like I've always wanted to go further with music and be a little bit more of like a deep dive nerd with when it comes to music. Um, Sometimes not as possible, especially when I was a lot younger. I really just like stuck to one song that I liked from a band, and then maybe I would pick up a second or a third favorite song from that, like songs that I like by that band. But I never really like went for beyond that when I was younger, where I would look at the band members and look at, oh, let me listen to a whole album as opposed to just like a popular song. And it is a little bit of work. It is a little bit time consuming. Sometimes you're going to hear stuff that you're just not interested in, but it also like really pays off, especially if you go see the band live. You're like already a step ahead of everybody else because you can probably sing along to a lot of the songs since you've been deep diving the band, and it pays off in that sense.
Absolutely. It just sucks because, like, my favorite ska band is Real Big Fish. No, not Real Big Fish. Sorry, it's not Real Big Fish. It's Less Than Jake. Damn it. I'm focusing on the game and focusing on the conversation, so my brain's all scattered. It's Less Than Jake. And if you were to ask me which of the band members is my favorite, I wouldn't be able to give you their names. Like, I only know the first name of, like, the bassist, which is Roger, and that's it. Everybody else, I don't know their names. And I feel like a messed up fan because I've deep dived into their history and their music and stuff. I was that kid in high school that said, wow, this one band made this one song. They must have made other songs that are just as good. I was that guy that actually went in and started looking at them early on. So I did that with Smash Mouth, Real Big Fish, Less Than Jake, the Mighty Mighty Bosstones, etc., etc.
Streetlight Manifesto. Streetlight Manifesto. Yeah.
I mean, we did go to one of their concerts recently, which was quite nice.
It was really fun, and the opening act, Mephistopheles, was also really good too. I like them.
It was quite interesting because they have a different tone, and it's a lot of their songs are actually very chill. Like you would think that a band named Mephistopheles
With a pentagram in the logo.
Yeah, you would think they'd be more in like the hard rock fusion of ska, but not really. I guess that was just a name they decided to choose, and they kind of went with it. They were very chill, but
Yeah.
I have not deep dived into them yet. I did buy one of their CDs though.
Oh yeah, forgot about that. Yeah,
Yeah, didn't you get a guitar pick from them?
I got 2 guitar picks from them, and thank you for that, by the way. And no, what I liked about them as well was just it felt like the generation of ska that I really enjoyed, which was the British two-tone era of ska. Their
Yes.
sound sounded a little closer to that, whereas Streetlight and some of the other bands are what you would call third wave of ska. Less Than Jake, Real Big Fish, Mighty Mighty Bosstones,
AKA punk ska or ska
Yeah.
punk.
yeah, true. I mean, I would say the two-tone had kind of a punk vibe to it too. I see a lot of similarities, maybe not so much as the sound, but definitely the aesthetic was very punkish. But yeah, it's that would be third wave, and it was cool to see a band that still does like a sound close to two-tone, or just I wouldn't expect that I would hear that sound today.
Yeah, I've actually had to look at previous bands. When you showed me your version two-tone ska, I was like, I've heard this before, but I'm curious where it comes from. So I've had to look it up, and geez, God, they have music videos from like the 70s and the early 80s, so that's how you can tell, like, oh, we're going back quite a ways. And geez, I'm trying to remember. I think one of them was called Rancid, one of the bands. There was a song called One Step Beyond that I'm forgetting the name of the band who sung it. It's one of my favorites. I'll probably put it up in post. And I can see why you would enjoy the two-tone ska. It's quite nice. Again, it's a different tone, it's a different beat, but it's still that very upbeat and what's it called? Oh, Madness. There we go. Madness. That's the name of the band.
Yeah.
Madness. They sung One Step Beyond. And Night Boat to Cairo, love that song too. But yeah, different tone, different beat, but still upbeat at the same time, while still being a little bit silly. If you watch some of these music videos, again, from the 70s, from the 80s, you'll look at that and be like, oh, so ska was always kind of like this. And yeah, it kind of always was. Hell, even ska music videos today are still a little bit silly and fun.
Ska is definitely a very interesting genre, and some have equated it akin to, what was it? A 13-year-old boy. No, what plays in a 13-year-old boy's head when he finds out that he had an extra mozzarella stick in his bag of McDonald's or whatever.
That's what's up, though. Don't tell me.
Have you never heard that one?
Yes, I have heard it before. Okay. Our friend Bulbtastic told me that once, and I was just laughing my ass off because it kind of does make sense. You do get a little bit hyper, you do get a little bit like animated when you start listening to this music, kind of like how you would get animated and very happy if you open up your box of mozzarella sticks and you end up finding out that you got 6 pieces instead of 5, or if you buy a 10-piece chicken nuggets at McDonald's and realize you have 11.
Yeah, it's a genre of music that makes your day better.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I consistently listen to ska while I'm working to get me through the day, because if I'm listening to anything like slow or anything sad or whatever, I'm not getting anything done. I'm gonna slow down to a freaking crawl, and I'm just gonna feel like crap. But that's me.
Hey, not if it's not as long as it's a high enough BPM, because I listen to Eurobeat while I work, and I kid you not, productivity increases when you listen to Eurobeat. Whether it's like sad Eurobeat, fun Eurobeat, happy Eurobeat, stupid Eurobeat, like the topic, the lyrics, none of that stuff like makes an impact. You're just gonna be more productive. It increases efficiency by like 20%, and it adds 55 horsepower to your car. So like Eurobeat is my go-to for whenever I'm like working or doing whatever.
I mean, if it does it for you, it does it for you, man. I remember you were playing Eurobeat exclusively while we were on our way to freaking MagFest.
No, on the way back from MagFest. On the way to MagFest, I think we were alternating a bit more, but on the way back from MagFest, yeah, I was just, it was towards the end of the trip, so I was a little bit tired. Something that I sometimes do when I'm a little bit on the more weary, exhausted side, but I still need to drive back from wherever it is that we went. I tend to put on Eurobeat because it does wake me up a little bit. Also, it's just kind of fun to listen to it while driving on the highway, but yeah, like I did that exclusively because to give me more energy. I'm not someone that can consume caffeine. I can't do that. It will end me, so I don't drink caffeine. At least not in big enough amounts to make any real impact. So I have to find other ways to get my energy levels up, and one of those ways is listening to really loud, very high BPM music. With absolutely absurd, nonsensical lyrics.
When you say nonsensical, we're talking about real nonsense here. Because I remember trying to listen to what these Italians, are they Italian?
Okay. So I'm sure a lot of people think that Eurobeat comes from many different places. I'm sure that's not helped by the fact that Eurobeat was repopularized because of a Japanese anime in the late 90s, early 2000s. But yeah, Eurobeat is, I want to say 80s. It's either 80s or like maybe early 90s, I don't remember, but it's like 80s Italian pop disco. And but specifically about it is it's the BPM is really it's high. It's a higher tempo than like pop music you just hear randomly on the radio or like a dance thing or whatever. It's specifically like really fast pop music that was made by Italians, and the lyrics are very laughably bad most of the time. Sometimes they're okay. They're just like passable lyrics, but they're not like offensively bad or anything. But yeah, there are times where the lyrics are just wacky, I guess you could say. I can't think of anything better to think of. If anyone wants like a masterclass in just bizarre Eurobeat lyrics, well, first off, I would say go check out. There was a MagFest panel from like 2 years ago, and they recorded it so you could watch the whole panel. I watched the whole thing. It was wonderful. But yeah, go check out the MagFest panel that was on this topic, and you'll see like they break that. It was beautiful. It was a panel dedicated to breaking down the nonsense that's to be contained in the lyrics of Eurobeat, and I like that panel a lot. But yeah, you could check out even some of the big ones. You know, you expect like, oh, these are your like really big hits. Like, there's got to be good lyrics in this, right? Nah, even some of the big songs are kind of ridiculous. Like Gas is kind of absurd with the lyrics. Deja Vu is kind of, it's not like terrible, but it's definitely not good. What I would consider good lyrics. So, yeah, I sit here all day. You know, I should have been at that panel. I wanted to be at that panel the year later, but they were gone. But yeah, I should have been at that panel because I could talk about Eurobeat all fucking day and the Initial D. But yeah, nonsense lyrics.
Jesus Christ, nonsense lyrics, literally. So I'm actually curious because you mentioned Initial D, and definitely that anime absolutely made Eurobeat popular again, because that's all you basically hear. But you also play the
no. You don't only hear Eurobeat and Initial D. There's other stuff too, but that's what it's known for.
I was gonna say you play the arcade game for Initial D. Do they play any of the Eurobeat songs while driving, or is it just like different music?
No, it's Eurobeat. Yeah.
Okay.
It's from what I've played, I think I've only really played Arcade Stage 8, which I think is the most recent one. And I've never heard a song that I also heard in Initial D, at least not that I remember. So it's most likely the stuff is not that you're hearing in the arcade games is not what you're hearing in the anime, but it is Eurobeat to fit kind of like the the theme, because you're playing a game based on Initial D. I think some of it is also licensing as well, because it's almost silly to say that, you know, these songs, I love these songs, but they're very samey, and the lyrics aren't great, and sometimes the production is weird, and the sample choices are odd. It's just like, you wouldn't expect that there would be so many issues with copyright with Eurobeat, but there totally are still lots of issues with copyright. I'm sure that they wanted to put just literally take the Eurobeat songs from Initial D, the anime, and just put them right in the arcade game, but there was probably like stuff that was preventing that from happening, like, you know, different kinds of copyright issues or licensing rights and stuff like that. Yeah, so you do hear some Eurobeat. Yeah, you do hear some Eurobeat when you're playing the arcade games, which is fun. It adds to the. It really does make it feel more like you're playing a game that's, you know, Initial D.
That's fun.
Oh, very fun.
What was I gonna say? I was just curious because it's hard to hear the music when you're at a convention, which is mainly where you go and play it, because you need the whole like arcade setup. Or do they have it on console? I don't think they do, right?
No, they do. They do. If you live outside of Japan, though, I feel sorry for you. But yeah, they have them on their they have them on home console. I've wanted that for a really long time, but what's kept me from really going for it is the menus won't be in English because you have to import it, and the game is extremely expensive if you want to buy it.
Oh no.
Yep, you gotta pay the import tax, and that's unfortunately what's prevented me from getting it. I know there's one on the PS3 that I wanted to get, but like, yeah, just in general, it's not a fun time trying to get an initial D game on a home console.
Yeah, it's kind of the frustrating thing. You might be a fan of a series or a game or anything like that, but if they don't at least make a translation and subtitle the game, it's gonna be rough, and it's gonna be even worse if it's a niche show or game series. Because like Mash said, it's expensive, isn't it? Like how expensive would you say it is?
Why even bother? I can look it up right now. That's what I have the internet for.
Indeed.
Let's see.
Oh, retro games themselves are getting even more expensive, and that's the worst part about it. Retro games didn't used to be expensive. They just used to be old, and people didn't want them, and now people are like, "Oh, let's go back to them," and now everybody wants them.
Hold on. Let's not call the PS3 retro. Let's not hit us in the oh my god I'm old funny bone just yet. Okay, so if you want to buy a copy of Sega Initial D Extreme Stage PlayStation 3, the best price for PS3, which is a Japanese import. That's right, I read the whole title. $129.73.
Oh hell no!
But the delivery is free.
It better be free at that freaking price. Oh hell no!
Right, and it's produced by Sega too, which is cool. I like that Sega does a lot of other stuff that's like they're still around. But what's cool is that, or what's interesting about this is that this game is so expensive that Amazon is offering me to put it on payment plans. So I could pay this game off in 12 months. That's how expensive it is. But yeah, the initial D game on a PS3, you could totally get it. It's called Extreme Stage, but that just means, it was probably like a more recent. It was probably an in-between version of two of the arcade stages, but it's just for home console. And I mean, really, this should be like $60, but yeah, it ends up being $129 because of import fees.
Rip.
Yeah, like, I don't know if this is, because I'm sorry, I'm not exactly brushed up on my Japanese here, but the cover of the game actually has a price on it. It says 2,900 yen on the actual game. Like, that's what it says. And when you convert 3,000 yen to USD, that's only $20. So I think what this means is because it has this goofy, like, PlayStation 3 the best, and the PS3 bar is like yellow at the top, and it's got all this stuff on it. I think what that means is that this game is actually discounted in Japan. So it's like one of our PS3 classics or PS3 essentials collection or whatever. So you could get like a game that used to be $60, but now it's only like 20 because it's been around for a couple of years. So this game is actually discounted in Japan, and yet here we are in America or anywhere else in the world paying $130. That's $110 more than it's supposed to be in Japan. That is bonkers. That is absolutely bananas.
100% agreed. A lot of people like to, especially when they go on eBay or Amazon to sell their stuff, they like to try to make things seem more expensive than they really are, and that really throws me in for a loop. Can I? Yep, now I have enough space. Very nice. Unfortunately, I would love to continue talking about this, but we are indeed out of time, and we gotta hop off and do something else. But we hope you guys enjoyed this conversation. We'll talk more about import games and other stuff next time when we come back for more Digimon stuff.
Yeah, let us know in the comments below. And before we go, I actually want to take a look at this because, of course, Amazon also recommends other things. So there's an Initial D Extreme stage, which is exactly the same game, but it's the original box art, so this probably just isn't the Essentials collection. $282.11.
How about no? How about it'll be cheaper for us to fly there, find the game used at a random shop, and then just come back.
Yeah, get it for like $3. And oh, this one's even better. So there's another racing anime called Wangan Midnight, which I also really like. It also has an arcade game series. There's also an arcade game version on the home console available to purchase. It's got the same thing. It's got the best, the yellow. This is a discounted version because it's been around for a while. $345.89 for a game that's discounted in Japan. Oh my god. But anyway,
Fun.
thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you enjoy this, and we hope you don't spend absurd amounts of money on imported games. And yeah, let us know in the comments what you think. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.